Okay, so get this picture in your head right. It's August 4th, 2016, a week after the Republican National Convention, and Trump Tower is just buzzing
Oh, yeah.
with activity.
Mm-hmm.
And out of nowhere, this news story pops up claiming a dead FBI agent was caught breaking in armed with a silenced pistol.
Wow.
Now you're probably thinking, hold on, is this a movie?
Yeah.
Honestly, it kind of feels like one. And the craziest part is this whole thing just flew under the radar of mainstream media.
Mm.
So we're going to unpack this bizarre story today, try to make sense of it all, see what we can find out.
I'm ready.
Our main source for this deep dive is an audio recording from someone calling himself Dr. William B. Mount.
Okay.
And he kind of breaks down this whole alleged incident.
Yeah, it's wild how a story like this, I mean, with these crazy details, just shows how information, especially the sensational kind, can just spread, and
Right.
take on a life of its own, especially online.
Absolutely. And
It's fascinating.
so let's break down Dr. Mount's claims here. He's saying this supposedly dead FBI agent, Barry Lee Bush, was caught trying to get into Trump Tower.
Wow.
And get this, fingerprints apparently confirmed it was him.
Hmm.
But official records say this same Barry Lee Bush died back in 2007 during like a bank robbery shootout.
So right off the bat, we have a problem, this
Yeah.
whole credibility thing with our source, right?
Exactly.
Who is this Dr. William B. Mount, and why is he the only one talking about this? You'd think a story this big, this explosive would
Right.
have gotten more attention, especially these days with everyone and their grandma on social media,
Yeah, exactly. You'd expect at least some chatter somewhere else if a dead FBI agent was really arrested at Trump Tower.
Right.
It's like this whole story exists in a vacuum.
Totally agree.
But before we jump into the why, let's look at the what.
Okay.
So Dr. Mount says Bush was found with a silenced pistol
Mm.
and that he'd somehow gotten past security on one of the lower levels of Trump Tower.
So he was already inside.
Yeah, already inside. And then he was arrested for trespassing and illegal possession of a firearm, obviously.
That's wild. And you know what really gets me is that he apparently gave a fake name at first,
Oh, yeah.
Barry Franklin, and then refused to answer anything from the Secret Service.
So it's almost like he was trying to hide who he really was.
Yeah.
But if he's already dead, what difference would it make?
Right.
It's just another weird layer to this whole thing.
Totally.
It gets even weirder. The source claims that both the pistol and silencer were untraceable.
No serial numbers?
Nope, nothing.
Wow.
No markings, no way to link them back to anyone.
That's shady.
Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
Dr. Mount says the silencer had U.S. Gov markings on it.
What? Okay, now that's strange.
I know, right?
The U.S. Gov thing immediately makes you think government involvement.
Right.
Maybe some secret operation or something.
Yeah, it's like, what does that even mean?
It's more questions than answers, that's for sure.
You've already pointed out some pretty big problems with the story, like, how credible is this Dr. Mount guy?
Exactly.
And there's just zero proof from, like, official sources or any media outlets.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, could this just be a case of mistaken identity?
Maybe. Maybe there's another Barry Bush out there, one who's not dead and like sneaking into buildings with silenced pistols. Yeah, it's possible.
Right. But then, how do you explain the fingerprints matching? And why wouldn't he answer any questions?
Good point.
The source even says they sent the fingerprints to the FBI, and they confirmed it was him.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
So are we talking about something staged? Like a setup or something?
Why would anyone go through all that trouble with a dead FBI agent at Trump Tower?
Yeah, well, what would they even get out of it?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
If this is some big conspiracy, who benefits from all this? And who could even pull off something this complicated?
Yeah, that's a lot to think about. And Dr. Mount, he even goes as far as suggesting that, well, Bush might have been there to assassinate Trump.
Whoa, that's a pretty big jump, don't you think? I mean, the source doesn't really give any proof for that.
Right.
It seems like he's just assuming that because Bush had a gun and was inside Trump Tower, that must be why.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch. But Dr. Mount also hints at some, like, political reasons for this.
Okay.
Bringing up, the whole Bush family name.
Oh, I see.
I mean, it adds a little more mystery to it all.
Hmm.
But is it too far-fetched?
I think that's where we got to be super careful and like really think critically about what we're hearing.
Yeah.
We're relying on this one source, and he hasn't been checked out by anyone else
Right.
saying someone did something just because of their last name. That's classic conspiracy theory stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's saying all Smiths are part of some secret club.
Right.
Not very convincing.
But let's play devil's advocate here for a second. What if their eyes a cover-up? Like Dr. Mount says. What could be so big that they'd want to keep it all hush-hush?
That's the question, isn't it? A cover-up this big would mean someone really powerful wanted to bury this thing, maybe to protect ourselves or some organization.
Yeah.
It makes you think, what could be so bad that it couldn't get out?
Do you think it could have something to do with the election in 2016?
Possibly.
Was it like an attempt to mess with Trump's campaign, or maybe even keep him safe from some real danger?
It's possible, yeah. I mean, the timing is definitely interesting.
Right.
Just a few months before the election.
Exactly.
It definitely makes you think about all the political stuff going on.
Yeah.
But we can't forget we don't have any hard evidence.
Right.
So it's all just guesswork for now.
It's like a puzzle with missing pieces.
Yeah.
So many questions and no clear answers.
What was Bush really doing there? Was he just trespassing, like they said?
Right.
Or was there something more going on?
And how did he even get that weird, untraceable gun? It's not like you can just buy a silenced pistol without a serial number at the corner store.
That's true. It's like something out of a spy film.
You know what gets me is that no one official has even mentioned this whole thing.
Yeah.
You'd think with a supposedly dead FBI agent, the FBI or the Secret Service would at least say something.
Yeah, the silence is weird.
It is.
It's suspicious. Even makes those conspiracy theories even stronger.
Yeah.
And it's harder to figure out what really happened.
Makes you wonder if there's something they're hiding.
It does.
What do you think is the weirdest part of all this?
I think it's how believable some of the details are. Like that untraceable gun.
Okay.
Sure, criminals can file off serial numbers and stuff,
Yeah.
but a gun that's completely untraceable, that's a whole other level.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if there's something bigger, more organized going on.
Like, not just some random guy breaking in.
Exactly.
And it brings us back to that whole motive question. If it was some powerful group behind this, like Dr. Mount says, what were they trying to do? Frame Bush? Make someone look bad? Or was it like a distraction?
All good questions.
Yeah.
We just don't have the info to know for sure, and when that happens, the gaps get filled with guesses and theories, you know?
It really shows how important it is to think critically about everything you hear.
Right.
Especially in this day and age where anyone can twist a story and make it go viral. It's like we fell down this rabbit hole of questions with no answers and some pretty unsettling possibilities, too.
Yeah.
We have this crazy story, a source who's kind of hard to believe.
Right.
And nothing, absolutely nothing from any official sources.
It really shows you how hard it can be these days to separate fact from fiction, you know? With
Right.
so much information out there, it's easy to get overwhelmed.
Totally.
This whole story, it just highlights how important it is to, like, actually think critically about what we're consuming.
Absolutely. It's easy to get caught up in a story, especially when it plays into, like, our fears or beliefs.
Yeah.
But we got to step back and ask, okay, what evidence is there?
Exactly.
Who's pushing this story and why?
Right.
And are there other explanations we're not seeing?
Exactly. Think about that assassination theory. It's a good story, right?
It is?
But there's just no proof.
Right.
So for now, it's just a theory.
And we got to be careful
Yeah.
about jumping to conclusions without any solid evidence.
Absolutely.
So where does that leave us? We looked at all the problems, the missing pieces, and the mountain of unanswered questions.
Yeah.
What do you think, listener? What did you take away from all this?
I think this whole case shows how a story from just one source, especially one that no one else is talking about, can still spread like wildfire. It's a reminder to always check your sources, you know?
Yeah.
Look for more than one viewpoint and make sure they're credible.
Right.
Don't just believe everything you read or hear.
Yeah, be skeptical.
Exactly. Dig a little deeper, question what you're told, and form your own opinions based on, you know, actual information.
This deep dive wasn't about finding all the answers.
Right.
It was about looking at this weird story, seeing where the holes are,
Yeah.
and getting you thinking critically.
Exactly.
What parts of this case stuck with you? What would you research more? Let us know on social media. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
Maybe you found something we missed. Or maybe this got you interested in other mysteries out there.
That'd be cool.
Whatever you take away from this, we hope it sparked your curiosity and made you a little more skeptical.
A healthy dose of skepticism is never a bad thing.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never stop learning.